Yeah, and how it's going to be changed. So SKT, are they going to open once again with their blue side ban of the Thresh? Or is it going to be something else? Because it feels like now that we've moved to SKT Blue, the onus is on KT to make the change.
Rolster was also banned by them. By KT, sorry, in the previous series, and they're going to ban the Cho'Gath anyway. Like I said, a meager amount of Cho'Gath, but still Cho'Gath played by Untara in solo queue. It's probably smart to ban that away, given that Pawn probably doesn't want to deal with that again.
Yeah. Well, now at least going to be taken away once again on the blue side here for SKT.
Final ban was Orianna, so we see an adjustment by KT and no adjustment by SKT. And remember those Zac, Kalista, and Caitlyn must bans on red side? KT says, screw your meta, we're making our own.
Yeah. We're on blue side now. We just don't care. We're just going to assume that we're going to get first pick after this because we banned the champions that we banned on blue side.
And now SKT, who have been banning what they did in Game 1, need to make the quick on-the-fly adjustment because lots of stuff could be available. They don't want to play a game with Caitlyn. I don't think they've scrimmed or played Caitlyn in solo queue anytime recently, judging by ban trends. So they'll take away the Caitlyn. Kalista's probably going to be left open. Zac is the expected final ban. But I was wondering against Wonder whether they'll be left open, and it is left open because it's Peanut and not Blank.
Yeah, Peanut doesn't necessarily have the skin for the Zac this time around, but it is going to be picked up regardless. KT will get Kalista. They will get another big pick as well. Thresh not going to be the option, but KT can take away the Alistar if they want. The Rakan is certainly available.
Alistar would be a denial pick away from Wolf, like you mentioned. Galio also available, so they'll actually go for the standard KT comp. They'll be able to piece together most of what they played last series because nothing's banned.
Yeah. SKT not going to be able to pick away something like the Gragas as well, which you could imagine KT would want to opt in for going towards that second round of bans.
And that's the genius, right? Is they can put together at least 3 of the picks, if not 4, depending on the Jarvan, because Zac has been taken already, and we don't expect Untara to be playing top lane Gragas in this meta. So they give away the Zac to a player who is known for his Elise, his Nidalee, his dueling. They give him the teamfight jungler in Zac, who's already been further nerfed on this patch, and they get the big 3 all together.
Yeah, the Gragas is going to be snapped up. You can imagine as quickly as possible for KT. Now they're going to get into that banning phase, but SKT have made the change. The Alistar Tristana is there, and that is a lot of early game pressure in lane.
But the joyous thing is, you give this draft to both teams, I'm sure there's SKT and KT fans saying we won the draft with just 3 picks locked in. Such is the power of the Zac. Tristana is a lane counter into the Kalista as well. And KT also have what they feel is the God comp. So already we're seeing trades of power rather than one team just putting together the God comp.
Yeah, and it feels like SKT have got the composition that everyone dreams for, whereas KT have the composition that they dream for every single time they hop onto Summoner's Rift.
Got to start banning melee supports, so we see the Rakan, not quite melee, but engaged supports anyway. The Rakan taken away, could just ban Rakan, so Alistar's been taken, so could just go further down the well and ban a Braum, for example, on the side of SKT.
Does the Blitzcrank get banned here as well, Papa Smithy? I mean, what is it going to be from SKT? What do they value? Mata does have a pretty deep champion pool, a lot of options. Can also hop onto the cannon if he would like to.
Blitzcrank would be a different one for him in 2017, but we saw Gorilla play his first career Blitzcrank game just a few weeks ago.
It's a highlight reel as well. Able to get some pretty sweet hooks.
Blitzcrank against Zac is a bait waiting to happen, though, you have to say.
Well, Tahm Kench is actually going to be the option here. Mata going to have that one removed as KT look to see what they want to take away. Is it going to be the Jarvan? Because that is still available here for Smeb.
I mean, they can have Jarvan Braum. We know that already, given where the draft is at. So where do they want to go? Blitzcrank, you mentioned, is a possibility and has worked against Bang & Wolf before. Let's see what they decide on. They're throwing a couple of different options. They go with the Morgana, so new tech here that we've seen from other teams as recently as yesterday. Now you want to have a higher damage magic dealer from the mid lane to pop the Black Shield, because in a tank meta, it's very hard to DPS down the 300 hard damage of the Black Shield, and you end up being 5 seconds of CC invulnerability usually. So they kind of have to go the Rumble if they want to commit to the Lucian that was expected to once again be run into the Galio.
Yeah, I thought it might be dangerous to pick the Lucian, but like you said, making up for it with that Rumble pickup, put an Equalizer over the top of a Black Shield, that thing is going to disappear immediately. KT, now do they head towards the Jarvan? They know that they've got the Bash brothers that can head towards the top side.
Oh, look at Smeb. He's
Untara.
definitely feeling stressed about this decision. 5 seconds left, and they actually changed their identity. This is not the full knockup comp that they usually go for. They're shifting identity with last pick, going for split push with the Camille. Sure, Camille can also be the part of an initiation with the Hextech ultimatum, but it gives them another semblance of style. And it also, to me, is an adjustment to say you can't just have Untara come in, call out the positioning and timings of the previous game, and be able to counter KT, because now it's a very different proposition. You have to respect the 4-1 power and not just full-on teamfight aggression if they get a lead.
And this might also be Smeb calling out Untara at the same time. We know that this guy is more of that role-playing top laner, doesn't have those ultra micro mechanics that Huni does have, and Smeb might be wanting to just style on him and go to town and become that unstoppable split push threat.
But it's so interesting, because is Gragas now going to be extra incentivized to gank for the Camille, or does he flip the playbook, play around other lanes, and see Smeb play a bit safer? I feel like a decision like that could actually affect the whole game, because still KT Rolster will be looking for early supremacy.
Yeah, and giving away the Zac just so that KT can secure the Kalista for Deft. Is she their recipe for victory? There are so many things that we are going to find out in this game number 3. KT Rolster looking to secure their spot at Worlds as the first team to be guaranteed that particular honor. My God, it's all come down to this in the telecom war. Let's get into game number 3. My God.
Welcome to Game 3 Telecom War, Atlas.
My eardrums are about to erupt, and I have a headset on.
Well, we'll start away with some smiles and look at Smeb, who had his choice, could have gone for the Jarvan into Rumble again. Different Rumble player. Expected adjustment and strategy from SKT, and this does counter any potential information Untara could bring about what KT were doing in Game 2 by going for a different identity. But we should look bigger picture, Atlas. This is a best of 1 for KT going to Worlds. If they win here, it'll be their first win as this KT roster in a best of 3 or best of 5 over SKT all year. They have lost in 3 games, including straight 3-0 in the spring final at every opportunity. This is their chance to be the only team other than SKT and Rox to win the regular season. And when you're in the gauntlet format in the LCK, that means you're guaranteed top 2. You go straight to the grand final and wait to find out who you will face. The gauntlet is going to be ungodly stacks. Samsung, Longzhu, Afrika, Jin-Air, all these teams are still going to be there, and SK Telecom as well. This is their chance to finally allow Score into the grand final, his first regular season victory in LCK history. But it's all down to 1 game, and it could go either way.
It certainly could. We saw what happened in game number 1, and then KT answering right back in game number 2. Now we're here. I have a feeling this is going to be much closer, Papa Smithy. I feel like this isn't going to be the same landslide, because both of these teams, the gravity has gotten heavier here in this room.
How could the telecom war have heated up as much as it has recently? This final week with Longzhu playing against 2nd and 3rd place. With KT, we need just 1 match win, but of course it had to be SK Telecom for them to relieve their spot. The telecom war is usually just solo an important match because it has so much esports.
It almost
history.
doesn't need implications.
It's not a League of Legends rivalry. It's bigger than that. It's been around since the start of Korean esports, and yet the gravity here, the final game here, the amount that's on the line, somehow it all adds up to a crescendo that should be this game 3.
Well, Peanut has got this Zac. Hasn't necessarily been the flavor of champion that we've seen him on. We were discussing it in Champion Select, but Score looking to try and get aggressive. Good vision down, though, from Peanut, who didn't want to be taken advantage of. Okay, Score going to get himself in there. Discovers the Zac, taking the blue buff. It is going to be Peanut grabbing that, but he's going to get knocked out of that elastic slingshot.
Even getting the passive here is a win for KT.
There's the bop. Oh, the flash! And it's going to be instantly answered there from Peanut. So no flashes on either jungler. And you have to feel like that actually suits Peanut because he doesn't necessarily need his as much.
It doesn't, but consider this, Atlas. He uses his gap closer to clear. You max the elastic slingshot first. The repeat gank will mean he can't flash out defensively. So if he's caught farming by any invading wards by KT or invading members, he could actually die even though his passive is up. So there is a cost, even though, like you say, for a straight-on gank, if he's choosing the timing, he still does have elastic slingshot.
Yeah, well, I guess the question is what is going to happen next as Deft and Martyr actually taking a bit of damage from Bang, but Wolf has had to sacrifice a lot of his health bar in this range versus melee matchup. Peanut slinking into the enemy jungle now, or
you would not respect as level 3, no flash Zac to gank, but we're going to see it.
Well, there's the flash in, everyone getting on top, but good black shield from Martyr at fantastic time, but that's the damage, that's the first blood. The teleport comes in as Pawn looks for the 3-man taunt, he'll get it, but he won't be able to get the kills. The man advantage too much for SKT.
Surprised there, the headbutt pulverized before the E hit meant that the 1 second warning wasn't enough. Teleport completed by Pawn, even though there was no chance of kill pressure, is a mistake from his part, and first blood, SKT.
Looked like it was just impossible to deal with as Score looking up towards the top side once again. Montara does get the harpoons to land, but he flashes forward looking for Smeb. May have bitten off more than he can chew though. As Smeb comes in, it's going to be Score that grabs the kill. And once again, the top lane onslaught continues.
A successful gank, but not able to give it over to Smeb. Has to go to Gragas because of the return damage coming from Untaris. They get the lead in top side. As a counterpoint to bot side, your prediction was parity. A bit of parity 5 minutes in.
Yeah. Okay. Double cloth armor picked up by Pawn as he makes his way back towards the mid lane, setting himself up for this matchup against Faker. Once again, it is a magic damage jungler, but maybe not as much damage coming out of the Zac than it would have been had it be the Elise.
In a very extended tank meta game, possible for there to be similar damages from the W, as Def's going to face check Wolf.
Yeah, that's going to be the elastic slingshot there as well. There is no flash available from Deft as he wants to get himself over the side. Yep, not going to happen. Peanut picks up another one, and SKT doing the same thing bottom side as KT did in top side game 2.
Yeah, Def could have just gone through lane. Went the riskier route, wasn't expecting there to be 2 members, and for there to be enough damage out of Zac and Alistair earlier. Now Pawn.
Yeah, does manage to flash himself out, but that's the headbutt pulverize that Wolf was waiting for. Faker can't follow up though, didn't have the relentless pursuit. SKT all over this game number 3, much like KT was game 2.
Wolf has been such a monster. Boots of mobility rush. He's against a Morgana who's going to be more focused on lane. His ability to layer his CC has been a delight. Not able to get the kill, but getting the flash and the teleport already down from Pawn is another micro win for SKT.
Now Def's Kalista has to play from behind for what feels like the first time ever. Papa Smithy, he's just always so good at finding those minute advantages within these lanes. This time, it's the power of the Zac that seems to be too much, despite the early gank, the early flash that hasn't even come off cooldown yet, and he's helped pick up 2 kills for SKT.
I think SKT deserve even more credit than just saying, okay, Zac's an OP pick, because consider that Score probably thought his job was done when he invaded and got the flash out of Zac, thought he would just safely farm. But credit to Peanut and SKT for still ganking bot lane. When we see these Tristana vs Kalista matchups that are becoming more and more common, with teams banning Elise on red side and leaving Kalista up, I always mention the thing about Tristana lanes is they can be as oppressive as can be if there's early jungle priority and lane priority by ganks coming in earlier, and Zac actually visiting at level 3 surprised KT Rolster, surprised Score, who wasn't in position to counter gank, and actually got SKT the pressure advantage in the Tristana lane that other teams haven't been able to get.
Cute little ward does give up Lantara's position, but Score still looking for this one. There's the headbutt, the grand entrance comes in, and it looks like Lantara just may not have a choice. He might just fall down. Smeb gets his way into the fight. Pawn's tanking up the turret, and again, Score gets the kill. Oh, could this last one be enough? Nope, just takes a drink, and it will all be okay. Yeah, ward down there does deny some backs, and that will give Faker some time with this turret in the mid lane.
Feasting on Rumble seems to be KT's solution to answering some of the good things SKT have done. SKT have got a lot of damage onto the bot lane turret. Even though we're seeing advantages in top side, this game, SKT are answering disadvantages in top side with demonstrable advantages in bot side. Stealing away the blue, focusing on the Tristana lane and getting turret HP down. They're not having Peanut slowly watch Rumble die again and again. They're matching advantage with advantage, and that's why we have this parity.
Cute one there from Mata as he manages to at least stop Peanut from doing anything for a little while. But nothing, like you said, the tangible's not quite there.
Tangible's probably going to be a first brick turret in bot lane.
Mata does turn himself back up towards the bottom side. Deft will clear out that minion wave. Pawn doing quite well at the moment, now with his Bramble Vest completed. Only 6 CS behind despite being what feels like all over the map. That teleport early on towards the bottom side and able to grab more towards the top side as well, helping get the second kill onto Antara.
Peanut just kind of randomly used his ult a moment ago, so doesn't have that available. Cooldown pretty long at this point in the game.
But that is going to be first brick going over to SKT pretty easily on the bottom side.
Tara able to exit lane first. This time score is actually being focused down. Want to see at least the explosive cast be used, but can't draw that.
Well, Wolf looking for a potential dive. Doesn't have Unbreakable Will. So it's not the optimal dive solution this time.
Pawn wants to play the top side wherever possible. His whole team is there, so it'd just be a mistake to be on bottom side of the lane.
Mata was actually looking for something top. Not going to get there. Antara, he's going to turn up once again to this top lane, but has Peanut waiting in the wings. There are pings there. I believe that was cheeky
turbo
little
shot
ping.
rocket.
Yeah.
He did let us know.
Okay, Peanut finds his way on top of Smab, who throws down the ultimatum just defensively to try and get out, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Peanut just explodes and picks that one up for himself.
Yeah, panic hook shot. Mechanical mistake from Smab. Meant that he didn't actually have the ability to just flash hook shot away. Didn't even use his summoner in the end. Straight up mistake, surprised by the Zac. AT through the gauntlet, but the Zac is working out for SK Telecom.
Yep, it's just all falling down here as this mid lane outer turret, if it falls, it's just going to be so much extra pressure that SKT will have. And on top of it, they're able to take down this top outer as well. Teleport going to be used from Smeb. Get himself back up there. You've got Pawn waiting on the bottom side, just trying to get some pressure in this lane to answer what SKT are throwing out, but it feels like 2,000 gold means so much more than just that here at 11 minutes in.
They're able to play their own game, just rotate around Tristana, pressure. Alistair, a melee champ, walks up and wards. You don't know where Zac is because no longer do you have your Gragas keeping tabs on Zac. That means they get the aggressive vision in because you're scared to engage on the Alistair, engage on the people who are looking for the siege, and then turrets roll down. So the SKT's game plan, which look like it might have to be aborted after their Zac lost flash, is in full effect, and that means that KT need to find a creative way to get tempo back in the game.
See whether that is going to be, because Deft has moved to the mid lane. It's been the 1-3-1 setup for quite some time now for KT. Camille still having that push advantage towards the top side and a 13 CS lead. Feels like now any sort of advantage that you get moving up towards that top side with Peanut with a Cinderhulk and now the Merc Treads as well, Smeb might just be feasted.
I do have a historical counterpoint to this particular scenario to invoke, because when these two teams played earlier in the season, Game 3, it was Untara on Fiora and Smeb on Rumble, and SKT fell behind, then held on to the game, extended it to the late game, and Fiora could split push down turrets. That's her role. KT need to look for that game for inspiration here, because they can do the same thing. If they can lose the minimum in lanes, if Score can get down the vision, Mata can get down the vision, and extend the game further, they have a logical win condition in the entire split push, but that's not normally what KT are known for. It's the dogpile, it's the aggression. This is not that sort of game, especially with KT losing out early.
Yeah. Well, Peanut's just soloing this Mountain Drake. Should be able to do so quite easily, but it does mean that KT have an opportunity to make a play. Just not very many opportunities are presenting themselves at this point.
The vision tells you the story. 3 control wards in the bot side and a very slow solo of Drake for SKT. KT can't hope to fight that, but the Drakes are high value all
series long
in this telecom war, so they can't give up too many free Drakes on the bottom side. KT's vision is around the top lane turret. This was the turret they weren't able to push vision around in Game 1. That's why they looked quite anemic with their Talia turret dives. This time around, they do have the vision, and sure, it hasn't meant extra gold onto Smab like they would have liked, but he's free farmed, he has 2 assists, and he's working towards his core items that Untara, whatever he puts together, will not be able to answer in the 1v1.
Also, SKT haven't been able to knock down this outer turret in the mid lane that is still incredibly low. Yes, they'll be able to steal away a blue buff, and yes, they have a heck of a lot of vision on this bottom side of the map, but that was afforded to them with that first brick that went down. And KT have stabilized relatively effectively.
It's hard to grow leads against a Galio. Galio can just lane wherever and come in with the hero's entrance, so turret diving Morgana Kalista. It's not quite Thresh Kalista, but it's pretty close to that Atlas, and controlling both the top side and bot side of KT's jungle is impossible because KT are not pushovers. They may be behind, but they are still strong enough to be able to collapse. So SKT really just have to whittle away with one explosive charge every wave, maybe a single order onto it. And that means the mid lane turret, which if it went down 3 minutes ago, could have meant the heavens opening for SKT. It's been much more of a delay.
Oh, there's the culling actually onto Pond. He takes a fair bit of damage as Faker is just looking to get extra pressure. Score moving his way over, but Faker knows exactly what's going on. He's just going to wander his way out of there.
See, they only get the single order. That's the thing, is this turret has lasted about 4 minutes more than SKT would have liked, or 5 to 6 minion waves. In another context,
Deft is actually looking to try and go aggressive onto Bang there.
Oh, I mean, you say that.
Saw the wolf waiting in the wings. On the cow.
He's gone some sick thrift shopping because he has almost nothing in his inventory.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really want to do anything other than farm.
Still, he was poised aggressively.
You said poised weird.
Poised?
Yeah.
Did I?
He's just so weak that honestly he doesn't want to fight at any point. Morgana's backed. Will be a nice purchase when he gets to it, but not even a Bilgewater Cutlass, just the Berserk Greaves. Blue buff refresh for Faker.
Yeah, was able to pick that one up from KT's side of the map as well. Bit of a drive-by. Peanut was able to give him. Peanut now you can see just heading back to the jungle to continue this farm, and he's ahead so far as Faker going to get stunned. There's the hero's entrance as the ultimatum means that he's trapped in here. Good flash gets himself out of the way as he was looking for that 1v1, but the equalizer not going to be enough to take down Smeb, I don't think, as Untara was looking for it. Slowed down there as there's the explosive cast, and KT turn up with all of their members towards the top side. Winds of War are there, but SKT get under the relative safety of this turret.
Do KT won't do any more though. Looks like Smeb will just go bot lane. They'll give up mid lane turret. Objective is picked up by SKT, but kill over to the side of KT Rolster.
Not sure whether it was necessarily worth it, because I feel like that gold lead is only extended for SKT with that structural pickup. Also able to be farming multiple lanes while KT sends everyone just to get one kill onto Faker. It's always a good idea to kill that man, but still, feels like they're making sacrifices to get any step forward. It's like 2 steps back, 1 step forward when KT's making a proactive play.
Rift Herald will be started by KT. The only reason to make a top side play like that is to stop a Rift Herald coming down for SKT, because they kind of admitted that they would lose mid lane turret during the course of that dive. So I do follow what you're saying. A single kill with no objectives is not a big thing, but the objective they get is a bit of tempo around the top side, and definitely should not be a Rift Herald being surrendered, as Deft actually has gone for a different build path. He has rushed the Hurricane, so for earlier team fighting, a Ren set is possible, but doesn't have the Blade of the Ruin King for the 1v1, so really does not want to be anywhere near the Tristana, for example, in a 1v1 sense, or even Faker.
Yeah, I feel like that's a Songyun build, isn't it? If I'm remembering correctly. One that actually decided to opt in for that one on his Kalista. Certainly has been a bit of a Kalista master in the past, but I feel like this could be KT looking for those early team fights. Or maybe it's just the famine build. Okay, Score clearing things out in the river, but they're focusing on this top side so much. Teleports for both solo laners on the side of KT. Hero's entrance almost there for Pawn as well.
Not those sort of summoners available for SKT. Untara's teleport is down, so playing the map is what KT are afforded to do, and SKT focusing on one lane is what they want to do, is mid lane.
Yeah, here's the teleport coming in. Faker using the cleanse very early as Score doesn't have the Moby boots this time, as Pawn just casually wanders into that culling.
A lot of time.
Looking for the hook shot. Doing a lot of damage here is Faker, as yeah, the time that he's wasting is a big deal. Another kill onto the mid laner of SKT. is possibly a problem, because look at the push from SKT on the top side.
And they used that very effectively, and KT, like many teams before them, have been baited into spending a lot of time killing Faker as SKT put together objectives. So they will return to bot side. Map does have Trinity Force and will do a lot of damage to this previously very healthy bot lane turret, but just picking up a kill doesn't really give KT anything of what they want to get their foothold back into the game.
Does provide them with a 2-1 and 2 Smeb though. Trinity Force done, Tiamat also there as Score is playing body block and actually taking a lot of damage. Looking for the stun on Untara, does find a good flash from Score. Hero's entrance comes in as Wolf looking for a good equalizer as Untara uses it to save his life as well. Smeb, doesn't find it. The kidnap comes in too early. It's just not enough. There was an interrupt as well, I believe, on the Hero's entrance, so Pawn couldn't even turn up. And SKT get 2 kills in response, and Untara lives.
And I mentioned that game 3 last time out. It was SKT being so much more measured when behind. KT not as far behind as SKT was in that game, but with such a powerful split pusher, you don't need to take the risk. We don't need to see aggressive body slams from Score. While there was a free objective to be picked up bot side, they didn't even get the outer bot lane turret. They would have been free if it was just a distraction coming through from Score, and now SKT control the bottom side of the map again.
Faker gets another blue buff over KT as well, as SKT, they're the ones that are able to get both dragons this game. It was the same story game 1, it was KT's monopoly in game number 2. Let's see this one again.
Score realized early that he'd made a mistake, and nice interrupt on the Hero's entrance coming through from the Galio, negated any of his CC and dueling. Very nice kidnap also, interrupting the hook shot. It would have meant at least a 1-for-2 trade. Ends up just being a clean 2-0 for SKT.
Yeah, now 2 items picked up for Bang. He's got Static Shiv and the Infinity Edge. The golden duo of heck loads of crit damage from Bang on this Tristana.
Infernal and a Mountain under his belt as well, as SKT with their bot lane control from early in the game have been stacking those up. Now the Mountain is the 3rd spawn.
Still, this is a composition that KT can use when it comes to the late game team fights, but is 4,000 gold at 20 minutes enough to secure victory for SKT? Probably not. But are they in a position where, given prior form, given what we expect from SKT almost every time they hit the Rift, is this an opportunity for them to capitalize and move forward like they have in the past? Most certainly. There was a time where if you give SKT a lead like this, there almost feels like there's no way for them to achieve, for the other team to achieve victory. These past few weeks have been odd ones though. There's still question marks. KT are on a 7-match winning streak as Smeb gets equalized on the bottom side of the map. Bang, looking to make his way in. Flash comes out of Smeb. See whether he thinks that he's created enough distance though, as the hook shot does come in. There's the double bounce over. Bang, slowed down, but explosive shots there. Look at this damage, flashes forward. There's a heroic entrance though, and Smeb survives. Pawn waits till exactly the right moment. They get a free flash out of the Tristana.
Trying to make a play on the top side was KT Rolster with the escape coming through from Pawn, but not able to do so. Lucian able to still come up and push up the wave. They have no advanced vision at all, Atlas. They hadn't have made that aggressive play around the enemy Krugs earlier. They could have put down a ward. They could have actually taken out the bottom outer turret. Because they don't have that sort of information, KT have to be a lot more reserved, and we're seeing more loss minimization from KT than any sort of actual creeping back into the game.
Yeah, not a massive amount of damage done to that inner turret though. Thankfully they have a tanky Pawn underneath there. Try and soak poke and also get that wave clear in there, which is somewhat substantial.
Will control ward around Baron. 22 minutes in for now, not substantial, but Peanut can tank it forever with the nature of the bloblets, so we'll have to see some vision wars topside at some point.
Yeah, has his Knight's Vow completed as well, so making Bang even more tanky, more able to survive in these team fights.
Any sort of coverage for Smeb is so important. When the members are in the face of the enemy, they don't need wards, but every time they leave, he's so confident to take the Rumble and the 1v1. That's why you see Untara recalling quite periodically and looking for the teleport play elsewhere. Smeb is a ticking time bomb this game, but so far the fuses haven't been as intricately put together as KT would have liked. Right now they're really trying to wait for him to get online and lose the minimum elsewhere on the map.
Yeah. Does just feel like that we're at panic stations for KT fans. To a point where even trying to take an advantage in a situation that they think is good doesn't lead to another inevitable catastrophe. What it has happened, even things like picks onto Faker, they're getting punished for almost every single time.
Have made the low-value, greedier choice so far, KT, getting those kills onto Faker while bad things were happening around the map. Usually they're the ones making the smart rotations and then Baron or turret trades, but with their lack of advanced vision, that's been pretty impossible here. Is turning on Faker again.
Yep, there's the Fate's call. They're looking for the binding. Mata following forward. That's going to be another pick onto Faker as Wolf gets the headbutt away. But is he going to get collapsed on? Pawn making his way in. Bang doing a fair bit of damage, but does now have the Goon Squad to protect the little Tristana.
Starting Baron here would be a huge risk, though, for KT. They definitely want to be peeling away. Smeb's in a control ward. Doesn't spot Bang. Wants to turn onto him, if anyone.
Yeah, they know that Bang is towards the bottom side. This Baron has been started off. They have a man advantage, but health advantage is here for SKT as Smeb has been turned on by Peanut. Finds the ultimatum onto the Zac as the binding goes wide. He does have the flash to get himself out of the way. There's a kidnap, though! And that is going to be Smeb, just destroyed. Heroic entrance does come in, and Peanut is still alive. Death doing so much damage. Equalizer set up, but not doing what it necessarily could in that position. Peanut, good flash from Def to get him out of the way of the elastic slingshot, but KT, they lose their top laner, and Faker has respawned. It could be SKT's turn to go for the Baron.
Yeah, right at the last second, actually gets the kidnap through as the ultimate had fizzled. Able to actually take out Smeb, and of course isn't tanky at this point. He's gone fully into DPS, so you're right. We're going to see the turn onto this Baron. Pawn wants to teleport back in, but he's got to start now.
Yep, that is going to be the teleport in from Pawn, but it's down so incredibly low. Deft does have the Fate's Call back available. Oh, there's the headbutt! And we're not going to be getting any Baron steals for KT. Pawn over to the side, trying to at least start up a fight that they want, but they will back away. And SKT, 5 members with a Baron buff.
Smart plays from Wolf. Guarantees the Baron secure for the side of SK Telecom. Now they have Baron. They already had the insane siege with Lucian and Tristana. And playing your side lanes when you lose Baron is almost impossible. We'll see the replay. Peanut did not know that Smeb was there, but there was always the outside chance. A lot of time spent here. We already knew from Kuro's attempts to get out with Galio, there's no way to escape. But the ultimate is gone, able to get him over, and it doesn't matter if the damage reduction comes in that late. No cleanup for KT Rolster.
Yeah, just not enough tankiness like you mentioned during the play. Papa Smithy Smeb instantly exploded. And if this was the KT double tank composition, you could see that potentially working, because then you've got the Bash brothers in there in Pawn and Smeb, and they're able to take down their opponents. But if SKT can finish off these kills so fast, and especially now with the accelerated items that they have, it's a very, very different story. It's like the playbook with this composition that KT are so used to is just not working with what SKT have been able to do. Like, now with a split pusher instead of that team fighting tank, just feels like a step too far away from what has been working for KT.
I mean, split pushing doesn't matter when you have no outer turrets down at 26 minutes and the enemy has Baron. It's an absolute disaster for KT Rolster. They do lose this game, which is looking likely at this point. Longzhu versus Samsung is for first place, Atlas, and KT lose out on that guaranteed seed at Worlds. Oh, it's continued to roll. First of the game taken down by Smeb. But SKT happy to group up. Lucian playing the mid lane. That's the members around bot side. Stana at a massive point already, 27 minutes in.
Yeah, very, very close to picking up that rapid fire cannon as well. Hasn't been back to a base for a very long time. They're looking to break open the base first of KT, as they do at least clear out a lot of these minions. It'll take only another couple of waves, or just one, for SKT to be able to siege this one through. Once again, we're spoilt with dragons. Exactly the same dragons, actually, for SKT here as they had in game number 1. Maybe not in the same order. And there it is. QSS and Rapid Fire Cannon completed here for Bang. It's got full item slots. Sell the Doran Shield. Get a control ward.
It's always the percentage way to go. Really impressed with SKT's play this game. They were the ones that had to make the adaptation. Zac left open would have been a surprise to them. But KT Rolster felt that given Peanut's reputation and even the recent play where he's over-indexed on Elise at every opportunity, been very focused about dueling rather than just being a teamfight tank, goes against years of Peanut being incentivized in a Warrior Enchant or Runic Echo meta and disincentivized in a Cinderhawk meta. They give up the Zac, the power pick for the longest time, and he's able to make it work. I'm so impressed with SKT's decision, even after losing the flash on Peanut, to still visit bot lane, to still make the early game. They're clearly surprised. KT Rolster got the Tristana ahead, and from there, their play has been on point. Their play has been the percentage play. And KT have been too aggressive with Smeb, who has a 50 CS lead, but just can't set up for a split push without losing multiple turrets.
And once again, actually, Faker choosing his skin. His Lucian looking different game number 3 as opposed to game number 2.
Cassiopeia skin in game 1.
Exactly. Who is this guy?
That's what the interviewers need to ask.
The big, important questions is Deft and Bang doing battle. Oh. My God, very close to the 1v1.
One more crit.
Yeah, and the heal, if that wasn't used, he was dead. Peanut setting himself up. Wolf not going to be snared. Not going to see any commitment to that fight.
It's hard mode to set up defenses for sieges with the Zac coming in. With Rumble bot lane, they don't have the ability to break the Black Shield, so at least Kalista can afford to play forward and wave clear with Hurricane compared to usually unable to do so, given all of Zac's engage.
It looks like Deft is going to head towards his last Whisper item of choice, probably Mortal Reminder against the likes of a Zac.
Smeb's playing a mini-game where he never groups with his team and then has to walk with no vision around, hoping he's not face-checking an engage tank. Some full Metal Gear stuff going on there. Has got those 2 outer turrets.
Okay, makes it out. As Untara and Peanut are unable to find the Camille.
Pawn is tanking. Deft has some of his core items. He's actually going Infinity Edge, ostensibly, with his build pass. Could just be an adjustment in the build from there, but it is looking like that, Atlas, with the BF sword and the pickaxe. No longer does pickaxe build into the last Whisperer.
Just wants to do as much damage as possible. Oh yes, of course. Made that mistake earlier. I apologize, everyone. Right, Bang. Tanking this one up. No more fortification. That means another couple of auto attacks will mean the end of this inhibitor turret. And Faker doing a lot of work to the mid lane as well. I mean, despite not having any minions, able to get a few extra chunks in there. KT need to commit to something. It's either defend this inhibitor on the bottom side of the map or the mid lane, because they're going to lose one. Smeb able to take down a few turrets around this map. Bottom lane, outer, and now the inner on the top side of the map as well as that outer turret. So KT at least have answers and keep themselves away from that 10,000 gold lead. But saying keeping them away from a 10,000 gold lead when it's still 8 is still bad news for this team.
Again, the Galio is important because Faker's first thought, of course, Rush of Blood to the head, wants to take down the Camille in the side lane, but because Galio could leave the base, afraid of the 1v2 and it backs away, KT are choosing to extend the game. If they make a teleport play and lose out on an Atlas, the game is over. So they're making the controlled play of trying to extend the game. Now, if they had done this around bot lane outer turret, when they overextended and gave up a 2-for-0, game might have been different as, okay, knockout party.
Yep, that's going to be a lot of shielding coming in onto Faker, though. He's actually dancing around. Smeb taking too much damage. The Culling comes in after the perfect pinpoint flash from Faker. Keeps himself alive, and now SKT. Oh, he's dodging out of the way of score as well. Peanut finds his way forward. Deft can't get on top of him. Everyone wants to kill the mid laner, but that's going to be that, and the kills are coming through left, right, and center. Faker exits the party. The rest of the team will pick up the ace against KT Rolster.
KT Rolster's regular season hopes are starting to dwindle. The flame is extinguishing. Faker lives through all of that, even with the flashes, and Score going hard at the paint to take him down. They're going to push through mid lane. They may even try to end the game here, Atlas.
Yeah, Untara's already teleported towards the bottom side of the map where they do have super creeps crashing on this Nexus. Faker already back up to full health with the lifesteal that he has with that Blade of the Ruined King. They're going to ignore the mid lane inhibitor. There are Nexus turrets to kill Papa Smithy, and SKT have silenced the haters. 2-1 against KT Rolster and remain undefeated in Telecom Wars for 2017.
SK Telecom take down KT. It's suddenly a story as old as time, have done it 5 times already in the summer season and in the spring season, including that spring final. They got their man. They killed Faker multiple times, but around that Atlas, the game was decided. The play around Camille was intermittently good, but often too greedy. This is the reason why they go for the engaged comps like Game 2, but they made the adjustment. They saw Untara come in, and it seemed clear that KT didn't want to repeat the strategy that worked for them in Game 2. They decided to make an adjustment. It's so different to play around a Camille who needs gank pressure and also needs you to be a lot more defensive in your decision-making late game while she stacks on advantages. Instead, they kind of rolled the dice. They went all in. You can't just play as if you have a Jarvan. And the end result is that SKT make the right macro calls, return to form, do take down a premier team in KT Rolster, and deny KT's hopes of going to Worlds today. They may still go, but at the end of the day, Atlas, with where everything goes, we're going to see the replay. Faker managed to live for so long, already had a lot of items, that disengaged twice. Score decides he needs to kill Faker, but isn't able to do that. Gonna get a group interview with all of SK Telecom after this, but Faker kept living. The barrel comes up short with the outplay from Faker. This means that Longzhu Samsung on Sunday decides first spot. KT Rolster cannot finish first.
Yep, unfortunately you saw that Faker was able to get out of everything that is going to be the ace at the end of this game, and it was a highlight reel from the very beginning, but it felt like a highlight reel in the draft in game number 3. SK Telecom back in form. Their decision-making good. Everything about what they were putting together in the early game as well in that series was good. I mean, Faker even sacrificing himself worked out so many times. He wasted so much of KT's time.
And now KT have the unenviable position of this being their last match. They are done for summer season until they play in the off season. And Atlas, we remember how cold they've come off Telecom Wars before. Their next match is going to be an elimination best of 5. They have no more stage games before then, and they're going to need to shake off another loss to SK Telecom.
SKT have set themselves up, though, in this gauntlet that they're going to need to run. They were secured in that 4th place. We're going to see a lot of SKT, I feel, Papa Smithy, unless they're pipped at the post by a team that has recently come off 2-0 victories. It's so crazy to see them have to get revenge on everyone on their way to the final if they're going to make it. There's any gauntlet that you want to be watching in LCK history, it's going to be this one, because you get SKT every single time, and they have to prove themselves.
But the drama hasn't even ended for this week. I agree, even where it stands right now, the gauntlet is going to be insane. But there's still going to be so many important matches. Our second one on paper, a small one, Rox versus BBQ. That's for relegations for BBQ. If Rox can win that series, we have Longzhu versus Samsung for first spot. And like you say, SKT needing to run past KT Rolster again at some point during that gauntlet run if they are going to make the grand final.
Just insane, but we are going to see that damage graph. Untara wasn't the game 2 Rumble. He did get ganked early, but he was able to sit under the turret afterwards and even top the damage on the Rumble.
Decision-making around that was so much better, though.
Yeah.
SKT looked at game 2 and understood that they needed to find advantages elsewhere rather than trying to deal with a Rumble who was still going to put together items. So Untara was able to just play defensively. They weren't able to stack up kills like they would have loved to in the fashion of game 2. MVP for our 3rd and final game is going to be Peanut. I think it's well-deserved. Invaded early, but didn't allow that to interrupt his jungle. First MVP of the season at precisely the perfect time for SKT fans, on the Zac, on the Cinderhawk. This is not his meta, and yet he could pull out a performance like this, did not die the entire time, and I can't even remember his passive being procced.
No, I don't think it was, Papa Smithy. Didn't die the whole time, and that means it's highly likely that it wasn't taken down, and that first gank actually looked repugnant, even through a black shield. Steph just couldn't find his way back to lane. He was treated like Huni, and honestly, in the end, could only really do what Huni was able to do game 2.
Surprise Smeb here. Went for the hook shot with no hope of hitting it. And those successful ganks were so important for SKT because KT were never able to start the snowball. This was the beginning of the end for me, where they could have just taken a free outer bot lane turret. They had to return to, what, 15 minutes later to take it down. They were behind 3-0 in turrets, and that lead only grew, and Peanut got his first visitation on the Zac and looked very good.
So good. Proving that Zac is still a champion that you just flat out cannot leave available. But it was how he was playing it as well that was just so expertly done. Tara here as well, just backing this up with the perfect equalizer. And this play from Faker. I mean, yes, it was Peanut that picked up the MVP, and deservedly, but this was the moment for me.
Quintessential this game, though. What does everyone do? Do they peel? No, they only focus Faker. They dived on him. He was 0-2 early. Well, they went too hard on Faker too many times, and when you go in one by one trying to kill God, people get caught up in the mix. And KT Rolster was the one that died in all the crossfire.
Yeah, you have to remember that there are 4 other members of this team, and you got Bang just jumping around this fight, able to finish off that ace. It's just there was so much CC. We are going to have that team interview, like you mentioned, Papa Smithy. So we are going to throw it over to Joel for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translation. We're here with SK Telecom, finishing off their last game of the season, and we're here with the entire team this time to conduct the interview for today. But it's the winners of today's series, SK Telecom. We're going to meet the entire team and talk to each players one by one. Faker, you got the mic first right now. How do you feel about the win? I think today's series was not really about our placement in LCK right now, but it was more of a pride battle between KT and definitely it was really good to get the win today. What do you think was the most important point in the matchup between you guys and KT? I think game-wise, I think we had to limit our mistakes, and the more we were able to do that, we were going to find success. And I think, getting a good idea of what each of these teams are really capable of, is going to help us throughout the playoffs as well. And it just seemed like KT was a lot stronger side than the last times you guys have faced them. But wasn't it a lot of pressure knowing that how good they were in the recent matches? I didn't think that we were going to be behind or under advantage against KT today, and I thought we were just going to go in with the same amount of confidence that we always have. And it just felt like in the later parts of the series that the Lucian didn't perform as well as you guys might have wanted. And of course, yeah, dying a couple of occasions is a very bad thing for our team, but it was a situation where I thought I would have made it alive, but it's a little bit of miscalculation that led to those deaths. So, but definitely it was an unfortunate situation for my miscalculation. And it just seemed like Faker, you were very known for not using skins for your champions. I think with the client bug that I've noticed, that I think Riot is forcing me to use skins now. I think it's at a point where I can't even choose not to use skins anymore. But definitely, the games that I used to skin, we got the victory, so hopefully that means something. We're going to move the mic right over to Peanut for the next part of the interview. And today's performances by you were really splendid from many aspects. I just really needed to change the entire morale that's surrounding me and the teammates as well. So it was a very important win for us, and we were really glad that we got it. Definitely, we were trying to have fun before we entered the game. So I think we did a good job of doing that part. Yeah, I think win or lose, we were really just focused on having fun today. And of course, you guys have one game left, but just looking back towards everything, and wasn't there a lot of situations that you probably would have changed if you had the opportunity to? No, actually, I'm very satisfied with everything this season. But you know, with MVP points, it's a very individualistic thing. So obviously, the most important disappointment was the 4 straight loss in the series. That was the bigger thing than the MVP points. Weren't you pretty happy once you got the Zac open in the last game? Yeah, I saw Morgana. I was pretty frightened by that pick, so and I never really had a good opposition to face off against the Morgana. But I think after the game, I just felt like it wasn't a very scary pick to go in with. Wasn't there an occasion of going with Kalista over the Zac? Yeah, we felt like until this patch, this Zac is still a very strong pick to go with, and it's definitely a top priority. We're gonna move on to Huni for the next part. Hey Huni, you went through a pretty series of struggles today. Yeah, I think game 2 is what you're talking about. Yeah, that was a struggle. Definitely, I'm still in a shock, and I still have to recover from it. But definitely, the staff and the teammates are really cheering me up. So I think because of them, we just got a feel good win in the series again. We just felt like, you know, in the second game that you didn't make it through, but going with game 1 though, it was the most significant part of your series, and going with that Cho'Gath to really carry the game for your team. No, I just thought it was a good pick, so I picked it up. Did you practice a lot on it? Yeah, I did. But you know, with me being Huni, you know, I only need to play a champion just a couple of times, and I pretty much mastered it after that point. So don't know what that point of that question was. Yeah, Wolf looks very distraught by Huni's answer there, and don't talk such nonsense. But after carrying in such a hard carry fashion in game 1, you came back to game 2, and then you guys went completely in the downfall after that. Yeah, we definitely kept in our minds that we should have kept our focus and maintained that same amount of attention going to game 2. But I think I was maybe a little bit over-focused. That kind of led to the opposing end of that scale, where it just kind of went downfall from there. And the biggest debate always is whenever you're in a loss situation is whether it's the top laner's fault or whether it's the jungler's fault. And of course, you know, just today's games, you can say that the jungler's fault was not really there. I think that's what I have to say. And of course, the communication between the top and jungle is so important that you always have to keep in mind. I think it was completely my fault. I want to try to prove that, you know, that it was. Definitely the bigger fault in that was the top laner, for sure. Well, first of all, let's get this straight. It's definitely both of our faults for doing our faults in multiple situations, but you know, I think, but last year, you know, even you saw me from last year that top and jungle communication was not the biggest of my strengths, and I think can kind of show it again in today's series. And those are things that I think we can fix over time, and hopefully it gets better after that. And do you want to move the mic over to a good communicator in Untara? You were substituted in for Game 3, had to win the game for the team for this series. Yeah, I didn't feel a lot of pressure going in, and I felt like it was just another game that I had to win. Yeah, but I think, you know, in this regular season, if you get nervous, you're really not able to take on the bigger stage. So it's a situation that I couldn't get nervous even if I wanted to. And Game 3 was a repeat performance with the Rumble. Yeah, I think even in Game 2, I think if the early game went a little bit towards our way, the rest of the game should have been fine, but because of that downfall, that really made it tough for us. And of course, joining SKT this specific split, now you are playing a lot of games. But I think, yeah, I think I really owe it to my teammates who are doing just a spectacular job in every role. And a lot of people, especially your teammates, they talk about you, Untara, in the way that you really play your role and you're really obedient in the function that you are supposed to do in that top lane. Well, I don't know. I don't really know what my personal strengths are as a top laner, but I think I'm trying to adjust with the team and trying to fit my puzzles in the completeness of what SKT has already been. And Wolf just, he's making these expressions on the side, being very unsatisfied about a lot of the things. Yeah, I can't believe what these guys are saying. They're speaking complete nonsense here. Let's talk about the bot lane then. If we can start off with either Bang or Wolf. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with today's games. Are you satisfied? Well, not really. Why are you not satisfied? I think getting the solo kills down in the bot lane was definitely a compliment going towards Deft as well, because he did such a good job of making those things happen. I can't believe he dodged the WQ with the flash, and as soon as he did that, I knew that I was gonna die right there. So credits to Def on that one. I think if our bot lane did a lot better than what we could have been, the game should have been a lot easier on us. But other than that, I think I'm pretty satisfied with how the overall game went. I mean, it's just a video highlight, not trying to make any statements here, but... I think it was a situation where if I dodged the Rakan WQ, for example, I think not a lot of people would have talked about it, but Def made it look good on that one. Yeah, when we're trying to give feedbacks to each other, we always talk about, you know, how each of us died, and Wolf maybe has something to add on to that. Yeah, we never accept deaths. We don't acknowledge that. So we always say that if you did well, you would have made it alive. And Wolf, you picked out LSR and you didn't. You were actually very competitive in how the opposition threw their games against you. Yeah, LSR is definitely a very good solo queue pick, and it's something that I wanted to carry on to the competitive scene. And but you know, I felt like that confidence really did come from my solo queue, where I was pretty successful with that pick. And speaking of solo queue points, you've risen very highly in the rankings in the Korean Challenger scene. I think, you know, if I start practicing, my points do go up, and I felt that. Yeah, because we knew that Wolf didn't usually pick the support role in solo queue. Yeah, I think maybe a little bit, but yeah, ever since Wolf raised his score on solo queue, he's become very arrogant, to say the least. So yeah, I'm kind of like looking down on my teammates now, and whenever they do something bad, you know, I just kind of criticize for every little thing they do. And of course, you guys want to celebrate today's win, but you guys have to remind yourself of the consecutive losses that you guys did face not very long ago. And did you maybe have a change of heart after that incident? I think as soon as the consecutive losses started, I think not only me, but just every one of our teammates here, we just had a lot to think about and really had a lot of realizations of what was right and what was wrong, and those kind of things, and really changed us as players and as an organization as well. And of course, us having worked hard got us this far, and we just felt like we just need to continue on with that and keep that same momentum, keep that same mindset with the way we approach things. And definitely, I think the practice maybe would have got you guys the win today. Is there anything any of you guys want to say in this interview time that you guys have? Well, the mic naturally goes over to Faker. Well, I don't have much to say, but I think us starting off in the wild card, it's gonna be definitely an adventure. And I think even with today's win, we can't get complacent over these results, and we just will have to face the games one by one and hopefully get as furthest as we can. And I know that we have a lot of fans, so we just hope that you guys keep on supporting us, and we'll just try to get as far as we can. And that seems to be the end of the interview. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Fantastic to hear from all of SKT, and unfortunately we have to say goodbye to KT Rolster without that massive interview because they have finished up their games, I believe.
They have indeed. That means they cannot finish first, Atlas. Whatever the result of Samsung versus Longzhu, the last best of 3 of the season, will decide who will be waiting in the grand final for potentially SKT or KT or one of the other gauntlet advancers. Great series between SKT and KT, where SKT proved just too strong by the end. It means KT finished the season 14-4, but because Samsung and Longzhu play each other, one of those teams will have 14 wins and at least a +1 game score on where they are, so they will be first.
Yep, and even if they don't get that +1 game score for some crazy reason, they'd still be able to pip KT at the post because a +16 is better than a +15. But our next matchup will be Rox Tigers and BBQ Olivers, and this is important as well because this is keeping yourself safe from that relegation match. Rox Tigers looking to try and continue their presence here in the LCK, guaranteed with an escape from the promotion tournament.
Yeah, the hype level's definitely lower, but still a very important match. This week, almost all of them are going to be important. So guys, about 15 minutes for players to get set up.